talk about by the skin of our teeth.
We just came running in here by the hair of our chinny chin chin. Got lots to cover tonight.
It's going to be longer than an hour.
Definitely got more in the Bureau of Bootlickers segment coming up.
Can't wait.
Welcome to Liberty Without Compromise, the only local, politically conservative, liberty-minded program in Kootenai County, where we continue on a weekly basis to expose political power players, politicians, and the influencers that make this political scene here in Kootenai County what it is. We're your hosts, Dan and Donna Wilson. I'm here to screen your questions and comments. You can participate by putting those comments right there into the comment section on whichever platform you're watching. And as you're watching live with us tonight, be sure to share this feed to your page or profile so more can join in on that conversation. If you're listening back on our podcast, be sure to catch us live every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And the most important reminder, the opinions expressed are ours only and not necessarily that of any of our advertisers, sponsors, guests, affiliates, or even those of you leaving comments in the comments section. We're letting you do your thing. Tonight on Liberty Without Compromise, the groundwork for a digital control grid is being laid, and agencies like the AAMVA are quietly turning your driver's license into a surveillance tool. While liberty is sacrificed for convenience, too many remain distracted by idols. What are some of those idols? Politics, sports, entertainment, and apathy. We're also exposing the bootlickers, Boe and Skaggs. Boe and Skaggs, are you with us tonight?
No. Just Boe.
Oh, only Boe, not
already
Skaggs.
Told you that. Just Boe.
It's just Boe.
Just
well,
Boe.
Skaggs is coming up, but doesn't it sound cool like Boe and
actually, it's
Skaggs?
not Boe. It's insurance daddy.
Oh, wait, Boe?
Skaggs is insurance daddy.
Yeah, Skaggs is insurance
Boe
daddy.
is
okay.
Loud for Jesus.
Boe.
Yeah.
Who's Boe? Who's Boe really protecting? We're going to be talking about that. Plus, the Kootenai County Board of Commissioners goes into secret session over the new grounded helicopter program, or the now grounded helicopter program. It's not new. What are they hiding? And we've uncovered new details about who's really running the sheriff's office social media account. So just stay with us tonight as we cover it all. And now here's your host, Dan Wilson.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Liberty Without Compromise, episode number 31. And we have so much to talk about tonight to all of our friends throughout the region, the county, the great state of Idaho, into eastern Washington, Montana, Utah, North Carolina, California, wherever you happen to be.
I want to thank Blue Collar for reposting our stream over on X. Thank you.
We talk about all things liberty without compromise because it is imperative that you today, this very hour, assert your liberty, the things that those founders fought so hard for you to enjoy and to have. And it's guaranteed as the government is made up by the consent of the people, specifically to protect your rights to life, liberty, and property. You know, we had a lot of fun time this weekend. We went down to San Diego, visited our friend Brian. Brian, we had so much fun with you down there. Brian was quite the tour guide. We got to go and roll some cigars. Mm-hmm. That was a good time. Go to a couple tiki bars.
I think, wait. Yeah. The cigar I rolled came out better than yours.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why does that
like
surprise you? I enjoy them. I don't roll them.
Finesse.
I roll them. Don't join. I enjoy them. Don't roll them.
Blue Collar, we'll get to your question. He's coming in hot with a question.
Who's running the jail? Yeah, you know, we've been talking about this a little bit on social media, and we are looking into what's going on at the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. We know that they are, by today's numbers, over 20 staffers short. That includes support staff, non-sworn, and jail deputies. But that has not changed since last year. We were told that under the leadership of Bob Norris, that this was going to be solved and that there was going to be rainbow and unicorns.
Where's the accountability? Nobody who's following up on that?
Well, yours truly is following up on that. But it takes time. This is not our full-time job, and we only come on once a week. We try to maintain relevance when it comes to things that are right now happening, not only in the country, but also right here locally. We have a extra special emphasis right here on Kootenai County. And yes, I know some of you wonder why the obsession with Norris. Look, it's not an obsession. What it is it's a continuing to expose what I was doing during the sheriff's race of 24, of exposing all of the crap that Bob Norris is involved with and the things that he is doing that is not good for your liberty, the things that he's doing that's not good for the exposure and the liability of the county, and overall not good for your liberty. And I will not stop until justice is served. So if you are ever thinking that I'm going to stop talking about Bob Norris, well, that day will come, but it's going to be a long time from now, I guarantee it. So
we want to thank our affiliate Midday Squares. It is a delicious, functional chocolate bar that's going to satisfy your sweet cravings. We've had raving reviews from those who have heard about Midday Squares through our program. And I mean, even my dad says, hey, those are good. And if my dad says they're good, you know they're good. It's everything a chocolate bar isn't, everything a functional bar wishes it was. It blows those crusty old protein bars that you've been having, it blows them out of the water. You get 15% off your order by clicking on that link right there in the comments section. And that's also a simple way of helping to support this program. And you get your delicious snacks to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always good for a couple.
For those of you who just joined us, a reminder to share this live stream to your page or profile. Doesn't matter which platform you're watching. We've got Facebook, YouTube, X, a couple of accounts on X, we got Liberty Without Compromise page on Facebook, the Idaho Sheriff, and then also over on Instagram. So we welcome all of you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So question, Brad wants to know if the new law that doesn't require a front license plate, won't the LPRs be worthless? Well, I mean, 50% of the time, maybe.
Depends on which way you're facing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's about it. Look, we're going to talk about a helicopter. Those of you who have followed me since the campaign of last year, and we'll pull up slide number 1. We know that I have, well, that's the wrong slide.
Oh my.
That's our notes.
Oh goodness. Okay. You keep talking and I'm going to fix that problem right there.
We've been talking about the helicopter issue for quite a long time now. The problems with the helicopter started the day that Lieutenant Mark Ellis and Bob Norris went before the Board of County Commissioners and convinced them. Former Commissioner Filios was not on board, but Duncan and Brooks were. They eventually allowed Norris and Ellis to bring this supposed nonprofit organization, Kootenai Regional Air Support Unit, and their helicopter, and they allowed them to enter into this memo of understanding. Now, there are so many problems with this. The helicopter has not flown for almost 1 year now. And we know that the reason for that is liability insurance at a minimum. Now, you can say what you want to, and Erin Barnard seems to think that I'm solely responsible for grounding the helicopter without merit. Erin, I just appreciate so much the validation that you bring to the argument, which is Dan Wilson, the so-called inept reserve officer that wasn't capable of running this county, doesn't know anything about anything, was smart enough to figure out that the 30-plus year career lawman from Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, the one that brags that he has all this experience and ran 2 cities the size of Kootenai County in population, well, he wasn't smart enough to realize that this volunteer helicopter program that he was involved with was bad news. They didn't have the proper liability insurance. This helicopter has been grounded for well over 11 months. In fact, September 13th, it'll be 1 year. We paid them, the county paid $10,000 for this memo of understanding, this contract, despite the fact that the helicopter hasn't flown. Where's that $10,000, we want to know. We also know that back in, I believe it was April, I believe it was Darren Murphy, counsel for Kootenai County, went before the Board of County Commissioners along with Sheriff Bob Norris and requested $10,000, give or take, to obtain outside counsel that specializes in aircraft legal issues.
Wait, you mean the sheriff will tap into outside counsel or areas of people with areas of expertise that he doesn't have? Mm-hmm. How strange is that?
Well, I think that's more Darren Murphy, the attorney. I don't think Bob's smart enough to know what he doesn't know.
Okay.
But yeah, they requested an extra $10,000 to look into contractual language for a helicopter. So this whole time, this helicopter has sat. Now, the Canfield incident a couple weeks ago, Spokane County and I believe it was Homeland Security both showed up with their helicopters because the regional air support unit that is not owned by Kootenai County, but is somehow supported by Kootenai County, you know, things like putting $100,000 worth of equipment on this helicopter. Anyway, so we've been wondering what happened to this helicopter, why it has not been flying. There has been really no official word, but we may see now what is going on. Seems like tomorrow, August 7th, there's a special Board of County Commissioner meeting, and they're going to go into executive session, which means that you, the public, you don't have a right to hear what they're talking about. It's only to the commissioners and whoever happens to be part of that conversation. But this agenda that we're showing right now, just to keep you advised, Mark Ellis is going to present consideration of helicopter lease, executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74206. So again, they're not going to say exactly what they want, but look, I didn't know we leased this helicopter. Lease means that you rent it in order to use it, but we were told through the numerous presentations before the Board of County Commissioners that this helicopter was a volunteer unit, wasn't going to cost the county a dime. Bob Norris wasn't going to cost the county a dime. We weren't leasing it. Leasing is renting. We know that you're not leasing this helicopter. Now, you paid them a stipend of $10,000 to cover soft expenses, similar to the $10,000 you were paying to the far superior Spokane County Sheriff's Office, which is only a few more minutes to the west. I'm going to be very anxious to find out how much money the sheriff's office is going to finagle out of the taxpayers for this inferior air unit that they're attempting. They're trying real hard. Now, Ellis, you're trying real hard to get this thing running.
Yeah, if I understood what you said correctly, it seems like they're reworking things on the back end so that they can somehow now relaunch this program and do it where they're not going to run into legal trouble. Because like you said, we were told, Bob Norris said this in a local, it was during his press conference for the Canfield murder incident. And he said in that that the helicopter, when the question by Erin Barnard, by the way, Kootenai Spectator, friend of Bob Norris, asked about the helicopter. And he said, well, they weren't flying it because it's been grounded due to workers' comp. Well, they didn't have the correct. It was mechanical issues.
That was
the first answer. Yeah. And then that somehow rolled into
workers' comp for, I don't know. And by the way, apparently, according to Bob, Spokane County also is deficient in their workers' comp. So we're going to find out eventually what the truth is. And you will hear first right here from the Liberty Without Compromise broadcast. Now, going to page number 2 of our slide, we're going to follow up on a conversation we had last week concerning who is running the social media account for the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. And as you recall, I did put in a records request. I was told nobody knows who this Ariel Waterborne is.
We had some good tips. It was nice to know how closely you guys were paying attention in last week's broadcast.
I don't want to give
forward.
some of those away. Just
no, not giving any names, but it was nice to see how you were closely paying attention, and you got in and did some of the groundwork yourself out of your own curiosity, and that turns out to be a good thing. You always want to keep that healthy curiosity surrounding local politics, your elected officials. The curiosity is part of what keeps them accountable. It's a problem when you lose that curiosity because it's natural.
Indeed. All right. So going back to this records request that I presented to the sheriff's office, I wanted to know, since they don't know, even per policy, who is posting to their social media website, or they're obstructing and they're refusing to say, I wanted to start digging through emails. And, I put in a request and I said, as of April 1st and July 25th of 2025, so about a year and 4 months, give or take, or I guess 3 months, somewhere in there, I wanted all emails between Deputy Nick Franson, who's also the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, Deputy Sheriff's Association, and Andrew Mohawk. You see those guys quite a bit with Bob Norris when he's campaigning off the side. They're his wingmen. Here was the response. We're going to scroll down 2 pages to an official notice from...
what page number?
This is going to be page number 4. Mm-hmm. So what they're saying is, in order to give me those emails, they figure it's going to take 30.2 hours to produce those, and they want $804.26 to go through those emails. Now, I got a question. In this day and age where you can find emails super, super fast by word search, and I did give them parameters for word search, you can find these things pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Apparently, if it's going to take 1,812 minutes to go through that, or 28.2 hours, that is a lot of time and a lot of emails, apparently, that these boys have been sending back and forth. I think we're going to talk to counsel to figure out whether or not that is reasonable, that the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office is forcing the public to pay that kind of rate in order to obtain emails. Now, we have the emails earlier from the records through Kootenai County Sheriff's Command, because it's not the records folks that write these things. They just pass things through. But as you recall, Bob and his staff apparently do not understand or know who Erin Waterborne is, or who is generally running their social media posts, even though we had just observed at the time of my original inquiry 3 new posts within just a few short days. So anyway, that will be interesting to continue pursuing. How many of you guys would be interested in what those emails contain? And why are there that many emails in order for us to be able, between 2 guys, to be able to ascertain exactly what they're doing with social media? We gave them keywords: social media, press release. So fascinating.
Yeah, should be pretty automated. And Blue Collar chimed in. Yeah, it's outrageous.
Ed DePriest says, workers' comp related to the operation of the helicopter. Since when do mechanical devices receive workers' comp? Good point. I think what we figured out after last fall emails that I obtained, I believe that they probably are going to be in trouble, or are in trouble, with ICRIMP. That's Idaho Self-Consolidated Risk Management Pool. That's self-insured, for those of you that aren't aware. There's also a question as to whether or not they license this helicopter correctly with the Federal Aviation Administration. A helicopter can only be licensed for public or private use. All of these things have to be put together, and you have to figure out the correct coverages accordingly, because if that helicopter goes down, it's a lot of money. Now, one of the volunteer pilots, RJ Garwood, he was a pilot for Huntington Beach PD. He crashed his helicopter, police helicopter, in the ocean there back in 2022. I don't think he works at Huntington Beach anymore. It was by the National Transportation and Safety Board ruled pilot error. I think they listed fatigue as part of the contributing factors of that. I think Garwood was traveling back and forth between Kootenai County and California where he was working. But once you know that RJ Garwood happens to be one of the volunteer pilots for the Kootenai Regional Air Support Unit, and he also happens to be the salesman for Motorola and specifically selling the contract for the license plate readers software to the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. So there's a little bit of some insider baseball for you, but that's kind of the way things roll here in Kootenai County right now. I think it's time for our new great segment.
I think it is. All right.
To the Bureau of Bootlickers, where we expose Kootenai County's most loyal lapdogs. Those who defend corrupt leaders, twist every argument, and attack anyone who dares challenge the status quo. These aren't just trolls. They're the foot soldiers of political power, doing the dirty work for the elite. If you've ever wondered who's really keeping bad leaders in office, look no further. We name names, show receipts, and shine a light on the bootlicking brigade. Ready? Let's drag them into the daylight.
This week, we have selected a local Kootenai County community leader by his own words. I've never met this guy before, but during the campaign, he came out swinging pretty hard in most of our social media pages. I think he got banned eventually.
Well, yeah, he was there from the get-go.
Never met the guy, but he was hostile right from the beginning. We've got a very special little video we're going to play right now. This segment this week is dedicated to a bootlicker by the name of Keith Boe. Keith Boe is a local realtor. He also runs a Facebook page. What is it? North Idaho Life?
Something like that.
I think that's what it is. Now, why do we care? Again, outdoor. I couldn't care less, but unlike a lot of people that think, you just ignore, we're exposing these hypocrites, these double-faced individuals who will proclaim one thing one way, live a life the other way, and then the real question is, kind of like April Lee from last week, why are you doing it? Why are you specifically going this hard against somebody that you clearly don't like? Now, these aren't just minor little, you're inexperienced or, you're a blowhard, whatever.
Or I was just merely asking questions and then he blocked me. These are supposed to be the liberty without compromise people.
Here's what you're going to find out, folks, as we complete this first go around over the next several weeks. You're going to start seeing how all these people are linked together. These aren't just random people that just pop out of nowhere. We're going to show this video. This goes to Keith Boe, who's on fire for Jesus. His resume includes that he was the executive director, I believe, of Gospel Media Group. It's now defunct, but it's all about Jesus. So let's take a look at this video and get to know him, and we'll talk about a little bit what he has to say.
Bold for Jesus podcast. I am your host, Keith Atneson, and today we are here with Keith Boe.
Hey.
Self-described as the unofficial mayor of North Idaho.
Yeah.
Keith, can you unpack that? What does that mean?
Well, so I started a Facebook group, North Idaho Life, several years ago, and it has a pretty large following. I think nowadays it's up to 140,000 people. And people have started nicknaming me that, hey, since you're the unofficial mayor of North Idaho, blah, blah, blah. And it's just been kind of funny, just kind of stuck. And we did the Got Talent series here. I was one of the judges. They announced me as the unofficial mayor of North Idaho. And it's kind of a funny title. Of course, North Idaho doesn't have a mayor of the whole North Idaho.
Sure.
But somewhat of a spokesman, I guess. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I've got a little bio here I'll read to introduce our listeners to you. Organizer of the Facebook group North Idaho Life with 140,000 members. A community leader in his own way, sometimes called the unofficial mayor of North Idaho. Ken Boe has been a longtime supporter of the beef. Keith Boe has been a longtime supporter of the beef. I should be able to remember my own name.
Yeah, the Keith and Keith show.
Keith Boe has been a longtime supporter of the Be Bold for Jesus conference, promoting the conference on his extremely successful Facebook group. He is a real estate agent for Kelly Wright Real Estate Agency and has been voted best in North Idaho. And beyond real estate, Keith enjoys deep connections with the North Idaho community. One of his favorite hobbies is cooking, and he is a father of 2 lovely daughters. So welcome, Keith.
No, thank you. I actually have 5 kids.
5?
I just have the 2 are just the youngest 2.
Oh, so you've got 3 that are launched and 2 in the house still? Is that correct?
And the other one launched too, so I got 1 at home now.
1.
Yeah, Christ is in me. Before then, I'd sit in church service as a kid, and they'd have the music, and I'd see the cross up on the wall, and it's almost like God was above the ceiling. There was a barrier between us, right? And when I accepted Christ, my Savior, that barrier was blown open, and He poured His love into me, right? And since that day, 33 years ago, being able to have a chance to, just briefly speak at Be Bold for Jesus is such a gift and blessing to me personally, because going back to that day, I wish I could proclaim Christ to the world and what He did for me, ever since then. And so the fact that I have the opportunity to do this, to proclaim Christ as Lord and what He did for me, is just something I'm really blessed to be able to have the opportunity to do, and hopefully by sharing my story, it'll encourage and embolden others to share as well.
Yeah.
And that's what.
So you don't have to switch it here. So right now we're watching Keith Boe, who is on this Be Bold for Jesus podcast. He's declaring his faith and how much it means for community relationship and his faith and all of these things. He's going to conclude, and then we're going to show you the other side of Keith, the other public side of Keith, and the things that he says. We'll see if they match up with what he's saying on this Be Bold for Jesus podcast, which was part of a movement that was going around the country. They had famous actors and sports folks that attended these events, and he was a guest speaker at a local one. So let's go ahead.
Just real quick too, the levels on that podcast that we're resharing are low. Their levels were low initially, so we've got it pumped as far as we can take it. So turn your device up and then make sure to turn it back down when we're done with that.
We'll go back.
All right.
You're passionate about, Keith.
And thanks for inviting me to the Keith and Keith show.
The Keith and Keith show.
Yeah.
If folks want to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
I'm probably easy to find. My email is keith@northidaholife.com. That's probably just the easiest way. I'd rather let people remember Keith, me, and you, at North Idaho Life, spelled out.com.
Very good. Well, would you mind closing us in prayer?
Oh boy, the prayer. Let's pray.
Lord, I give you thanks for Keith's day and for the opportunity to be on this podcast. Lord, I pray for those listeners that they find real value in their life, living in today. God, today is a gift that you've given us. And today is the greatest day of our life because we're living in it. Lord, give people purpose. Let them be bold for Jesus in their faith. And if they're unsure, Lord, give them surety. Visit them. For you are the living Lord and the King of Kings and the living God. Be with us, Lord, and guide us in everything we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let me add one more thing. And just to speak to the audience for a second, I in my old age, I don't really give God a things to do list anymore. When I pray, God, let this appraisal come in on time. God, let me make this light without running red. Whatever. I pray for peace. I don't give God a things to do list. Just, Lord, give me peace, whatever way you see fit. And so to continue, Lord, I pray that for the listeners out there, whatever they're struggling with, and whatever they're dealing with, that you grant them real peace in their life, whatever that may be. True peace to go to bed at night and to sleep in a pillow in peace and comfort, wherever that may come. I pray for my mother and my parents, for my children. Lord, be with us and hear my prayer. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
Keith.
Yeah.
And thank you to our listeners.
Yeah.
Take care.
Okay. So we're going to put this on pause real quick here. Keith Boe talking on this All for Jesus podcast. A couple things that he said right here at the end, that he's looking for people that the gift that he's given people, and to be bold for Jesus in their faith, kind of however they need to live that out. He's encouraging people. And then when he prays, he doesn't pray anymore for things like, help his house to close, or for, this red light to turn green. He prays for peace. So from all accounts, you listen to this and you think, man, this guy's, on fire for Jesus.
Yeah,
Typical churchies.
Yeah. If I wasn't biased at this point, that might be what I hear.
He's kind of a beta male kind of church dude. He talked earlier about Sunday school. We didn't play the whole thing, but that was Keith just 2 short years ago. Well, now we're going to show you different comments that he was making, not only on our sheriff page and other pages regarding my race, but also the Liberty Without Compromise. So yeah, he and insurance daddy Ryan Skaggs, who will be coming up next, they've been having quite fun on our pages. And
Boe and Skaggs.
We're going to show you folks. I know you're probably wondering, why are you guys doing this? We have a purpose, because all of these people are interlinked, and you guys in Kootenai County need to know. And if you're not in this area and you're facing opposition for standing out and doing something right, and it comes from those that are supposedly supposed to be aligned with you, you too can be bold by looking into it, seeing what the nefarious reason that these people are acting the way they are. Okay, so here, without further ado, will be some of the things that Keith had to say. He goes on, he says, he comes off as a huge bully, intimidation without compromise. I imagine if
he's talking about you, just to clarify.
Yes, thank you. I imagine if he were ever elected, there would be a huge exodus from the sheriff's department. He's the complete opposite of Wolfinger or Chief Hogue of Post Falls. The Post Falls police leadership were always all smiles. They were two of the nicest, smiliest, gentlest guys with joyful hearts. Wolfinger was a Sunday school teacher for like 4 or 5 years in real life during his sheriff's career. He goes on to say, this tough guy douchebag is the smoking man drinking whiskey in a dark, I can't quite see it because I'm covered by a
dark room and something about at a table.
Yeah.
You're a freaking walking disaster.
Mm-hmm. Freaking walking disaster. So nice guy that's calling for peace. Thanks that. Promise my liberty. Do we really want a paranoid snowflake like that who sees everyone through the eyes of adversity and questions or criticism as the enemy? He's not even a reserve cop material. Don't they personality test them? Well, Keith, as a matter of fact, not only did I go through all the standard polygraphs and psych evals and background checks, I actually went through an academy. I graduated, took the exact same test that any full authority police officer took, and swore the same oath. So, yeah, they did. Keith Boe says, I wonder that too, talking about going on there. He says, I can write a poem too. Douchebag Dan, reserve cop from Spokane. So, that sounds like a nice Jesus type of stuff there. Let's go on.
Thanks again, Keith.
Yeah.
Apparently, I drug it wrong.
Oh, wrong direction.
Wrong direction.
Okay. We've got more comments from Keith Boe coming up. He made his way onto our pages. He was present all the way from the beginning of our original campaign, got blocked because there was nothing that he was doing that was contributing to the conversation or were legitimate questions. It was simple disparaging, and it gets worse.
Will someone take this douchebag to the train station? I think that's in reference to Yellowstone where they, somebody. Let's see. Probably better play it, otherwise it's going to jump on me again here.
Making fun of a quote that you had put out.
I mean, imagine him alone facing you in a dark room, slowly making love to a fat cigar, bottle of whiskey on the table, and him just staring, handgun lying in front of him on the table, drinking whiskey straight from the bottle, staring. Hi, stepdad, I'm home. So is that insinuating that I'm abusive?
Yeah. Again, a praying, loving man of God who just wants to bless others in the community.
And help them find their peace.
Yes.
And he's the unofficial mayor of North Idaho.
Because he has such a massive following on his Facebook page.
He says, all over, I'm defeated, but I've got news for you. According to The website, I can't read that.
According to the map,
thanks.
We've only gone 4 inches. And I'm thinking that is a lewd reference.
Yeah, innuendo. We're almost going to get to a couple more good ones, then we'll be done here.
We're just waiting for this to play.
Well, it's my first time. I mean,
Again,
I need to get better.
Keith Boe of North Idaho Life. Douchebag Dan. Douchebag Dan videos be like.
I guess next time I'll have to tighten these up on these slides.
Right.
Okay, here's a good one. Mike Petum, which we've talked about before. He's another bootlicker. Mike Petum. Keith says to him, wear your assless chaps.
They're going to dress up in things that Dingleberry hates, please.
Yeah.
Keith Boe tells Petum to wear his assless chaps.
That is enough. You guys get the gist. Look, again, couldn't care less. We get this stuff. You get it. Everybody gets rude people online. But we're going to call out the hypocrisy. We're going to call out the hypocrisy of these guys. He's a self-proclaimed community leader. Now, I had never heard of the dude before recently when we started looking into who is this guy. And there's a whole bunch of great material on the internet for him. One side, I'm a man of God, and I'm bestowing Christian principles and virtues, and on the other hand, douchebag, referencing me, calling me a queer, all sorts of things, not even fit to be a reserve officer, on and on and on and on it goes. So we will show how he is connected to a couple other folks, and you'll have to wait till those future episodes. But if you are so lucky to run your mouth and to stand out among your peers or above your peers, you most likely are going to be a target on the Liberty Without Compromise broadcast. Bureau of Bootlickers.
And if you're wondering how Keith Boe resubmerged, because he was badgering from the very beginning of the campaign. And as you can see, with a lot of those type of lewd comments that were, not only not productive, but were just vile. So he was blocked from that page. We have now opened the Liberty Without Compromise Facebook page to anybody and everybody. So this is your reminder to also on Facebook, go over and follow that page. What that has been is a gateway for some of these people. And it really was just a handful that were the troublemakers that were blocked.
Yeah.
When you look at it in terms of the numbers, it was a very few that were problematic, because once those were blocked, then there's a lot of good conversation and interaction happening on the page. Over at Liberty Without Compromise, they realize I can get back in. Let's start this over. So then there's some other familiar names that we see coming back, and we're leaving it open. So that's why go follow the Liberty Without Compromise Facebook page, and you too can see what Keith Boe is commenting on some of those favorite posts.
Outstanding.
And then we've got more in this segment. I'm gonna bring this up.
I would love for you to bring up.
I'm gonna bring this up right now. Topic. I'm not gonna explain it because this is a segment that I put together for you. We're gonna be here with you. It's being released for the first time right now, and we'll make this available later on our YouTube channel and other socials so that you can play it separately. Watch this with us together, and be sure to interject your comments as we're watching this live.
And coming up right after this, more on the surveillance state and LPR. So stick around.
Yep. A reminder, we're live. So share this feed to your page or profile while we're watching this together. This is more in the Bureau of Bootlickers. Out to show you how this community event on human trafficking in Kootenai County had some key people in attendance, and it wasn't organic at all. They were staged for a political move crafted to prop up Sheriff Bob Norris during a heated election battle with his opponent, Dan Wilson. The irony? Norris has repeatedly denied human trafficking is even a problem in Kootenai County, and we're going to get into that. But first, some quick context. We recently published an article on Liberty Without Compromise comparing Dan Wilson's campaign warnings to Norris's actual track record. Wilson predicted a lack of transparency, denial of trafficking in the county, alienation of law enforcement partners, political use of the sheriff's office, retaliation against critics through proxies, ethical violations and internal fear, and the mishandling of high-profile cases. Since re-election, Norris has been linked to lawsuits for defamation and retaliation, press events that dodge real answers, political bullying through proxies, high staff turnover, morale issues, and massive budget increases, transparency concerns, and ongoing ethical controversies. And at the center of it all, Norris's repeated efforts to downplay or flat out deny human trafficking in our county. Let's take a closer look.
Do we have an increase, or have you seen an increase in human trafficking in Kootenai County? And if so, how are you?
You know, we have not seen any early warning indicators of that here at all. We just have not. It's on our radar. We believe that it's very, very important.
Norris still denies human trafficking exists in Kootenai County, but he's changed tactics. Early on, he claimed that there were no indicators at all. But as the 2024 campaign heated up, he shifted to a straw man argument, dodging trafficking questions by pivoting to online predators. It's a clever deflection. You appear concerned, but avoid accountability. We first caught this at the October 2024 event hosted by The Innocent, where organizer Nate Lewis deferred to Norris on jail stats. But why was Norris even there? That takes us back to this group seated front and center. Let's take a closer look at the key players seated at this event. First, Davalu Cummings, a longtime political insider. She has held leadership roles in the Kootenai County Republican Women's Federated, advised both Sheriff Bob Norris and Pastor Paul Vanoy of Candlelight Church, sits on the Coeur d'Alene Arts Commission, runs a law enforcement nonprofit, and has a background with Homeland Security. She is deeply entrenched in the political machine here locally. Next to her is Stefanie Fetzer, a political activist with roots in Sacramento's medical freedom movement. She aligned with the controversial Freedom Angels and was present, though not arrested, at a protest where multiple members of that group were. Since arriving in Kootenai County around 2020, Fetzer embedded herself in local politics, quickly becoming a mouthpiece for Norris and launching social media attacks on his opponent, Dan Wilson. Her playbook? Pretend neutrality while aggressively discrediting candidates that she opposes. Next is Shelley Croal, local realtor and mother of Shauna Lambert, Fetzer's longtime ally. Croal mirrored the same tactics, working to undermine the Wilson campaign and publicly supporting Fetzer and Cummings. Then there's Travis McNault, who goes by Tad, a frequent participant in local political chat groups, also pushing the pro-Norris narrative. And across the table, Erin Barnard, who's been anti-Wilson from the start. Fetzer, Cummings, and Barnard are all active members of Candlelight Christian Fellowship and serve as political advisors to Pastor Paul Vanoy. Their appearance at this human trafficking event wasn't random, it was strategic. Human trafficking became political in Kootenai County after Norris denied its existence and Wilson publicly challenged him. And even after the election, the drama continues. On a recent post where Dan Wilson called out Norris again, a familiar name popped up. Doreen Russell, another anti-Wilson voice echoing the exact same talking points as Fetzer, Barnard, Croal, and Lambert. We'll dig deeper into Fetzer in a future episode, but this gives you a clear picture. This event for them wasn't about raising awareness, it was a political stage and they filled seats with their actors. In a recent Facebook post, Doreen Russell addressed Dan Wilson, referencing the October 2024 human trafficking event. She says, "As a political adversary, you showed up for campaign purposes. You know Sheriff Norris addressed the topic and the trafficking expert agreed that online predators are the biggest threat. You know there's a task force and that he speaks at school events to educate the public. Are you going to deny that?" Doreen's using Norris's classic straw man tactic, dodging the real issue. Wilson's point was never about online predators. He was calling out the sheriff for repeatedly denying that human trafficking exists in Kootenai County. By shifting the conversation to online predators, a separate but serious issue, Norris avoids taking responsibility. Doreen parrots this deflection, framing it as a response while sidestepping the real concern. This rhetorical pivot was on full display at the Innocent event in October, where Norris surrounded himself with political allies. Doreen's reference to it now isn't random, it's part of a calculated campaign strategy. Here's another important detail I don't want you to miss. Both Dan Wilson and Bob Norris were scheduled for interviews with the Hijacked group on the evening of October 14th, the same night the Innocent hosted their human trafficking event across the street at Life Public House. Originally, Norris was set for 8:30 p.m. and Wilson for 9:05 p.m. That would have limited Norris's ability to attend the event, but that morning, Hijacked updated the schedule, moving Norris to 3:06 p.m. This freed him up for the entire evening at the Innocent event. Meanwhile, Wilson stayed on schedule for 9:05 p.m., planning to attend the event first. But during the presentation, a Hijacked staffer interrupted twice, asking Wilson to leave early for his interview because they were ahead of schedule. Wilson declined, saying he planned around the original timing. These last-minute changes effectively cleared the way for Norris to dominate the event and made it harder for Wilson to be seen or heard. Fast forward to 2025, and we see Doreen using this very event as political ammo, accusing Wilson of showing up for campaign purposes, despite clear rules against it. In truth, it was Norris who showed up in full uniform, flanked by KCSO staff, FOP reps, and political allies, all at an event about a topic he had spent years downplaying. It wasn't just a coincidence. It was a strategic move to reclaim the narrative and to undercut Wilson's growing credibility. Sheriff Bob Norris's 2024 win should have been smooth sailing, and on paper it was. He was backed by the Kootenai County Republican Central Committee and their massive war chest. They branded him, funded him, and helped put him in office. But their grip on this county goes deeper, recruiting operatives like Davalu Cummings and Stefanie Fetzer to protect their power at all costs. Dan Wilson exposed real red flags during the campaign, and even though Norris won, his image took a hit. Now, with active lawsuits, a bloated budget proposal jumping from 30 to 54 million, and national headlines questioning his ethics, the spin machine has got to work overtime. That's why they still carry water for him and why we will keep exposing them. This is Liberty Without Compromise and the Bureau of Bootlickers. I'm Donna Wilson.
Well, first of all, that was an outstanding video. I'm embarrassed now that I put mine together because you were like light years ahead, professional. Great piece. It's good to finally be able to tell our side of the shenanigans that took place at that event.
I think a lot of this probably would have stayed buried, but because some of these same actors have renewed access through the Liberty Without Compromise Facebook page, they're bringing up their old arguments. And it was because of that when Doreen interjected on a comment that was a post with you continuing to expose Norris's denial of human trafficking in this county. Doreen came in with that argument, and that's when I said, she knew we had footage. I knew they had footage. They had cameras pointing in my direction. They knew I was recording the host of the event. They happened to be, that's where they chose to sit, and they happened to be within that shot. And as I reviewed that footage, an hour and a half, it was, I guess, goosebumps moment, because you realize we knew it was happening. We knew what was happening at the time, but it's one of those, how strong is my voice to really, or my ability to explain something very calculated that was going on here. Yeah. And so Doreen, unfortunately, because you wanted to bring that back into the argument, and the use of Norris's the straw man argument against Dan Wilson, again exposing Norris's stance on human trafficking in Kootenai County, we revisited that event, and it warranted putting that much time into it to dig into the detail and be able to share it with you guys.
Now, I wanted to point out Davalu Cummings, the person that you showed right at the very beginning, the short-haired, gray-haired lady, Homeland Security agent for many years. She worked human trafficking, I believe, out of New Mexico. Later became a tort claim investigator for the Attorney General in the state of Washington. And her husband, David Cummings, was a former Border Patrol pilot or Customs, and is also one of the volunteer pilots for the Kootenai Regional Air Support Unit. I thought it was fascinating that she was there at that meeting asking questions that she, as a career agent already knew the questions for, but it was as if she was
the answer.
Already knew the answer. And then, of course, when you looked at the entourage surrounding Norris, you'll see some familiar faces there. One of them was the FOP president of Post Falls, Neil Uhrig, who used to be a detective and is now Secret Service. But all these people, folks, are really entrenched, and it should very much concern you. I know a lot of you are busy. You got things going on with family and kids, and as long as law and order is taking place, who cares, right? But you got to understand the people that are running this, and why are they so hell-bent to hold on to this power? Why are they all come together to hold the line for, well, let's call it what it is. Why is Bob Norris protecting those that are involved in human trafficking? Can I be that bold to say it?
I don't know.
Why does it, let me reframe it.
Way.
Why does it appear that Bob Norris, by his frequent inaction and his denial publicly, and as you said, coming up with a straw man argument, why is he appearing to be covering for it? Why is he not going after it? Why is a man who spent 30 years in Los Angeles, one of the epicenters for human trafficking, who should know all the signs, why is he not actively going after human trafficking in Kootenai County? And we're not just talking about how to train your kids on not doing things on social media. So appreciate that. And it was good also for us to speak about what Hagedorn and the chamber did to us.
Yeah.
I mean, that you want to talk about unprofessional. They sent Jordan Redmond, Representative Redmond,
you
over
saw that clip there
to come and tell me, hey, we need you an hour and a half or so before. And I said, look, I'm in the middle of this. I was invited to this event. I am here at this event. And then later on, somebody from the chamber came over and attempted to strong arm me, to try to shame me for not getting over there. It was disrespectful. Completely disrespectful. And that's what the chamber does. And by the way, Bob's a member of the chamber. So there we go. All right, let's talk more about surveillance. We talked last week about Palantir and Foundry and Gotham. And we gave you a little bit of a taste of exactly why this thing is so incredibly dangerous to your liberty. I think we're going to probably go to, let's first of all go to our video. I think I'm going to play that video. This video, we're going to start and stop it. We've got a couple clips you've already seen before. This is for my friends in Kootenai County. There's an action item that we're going to be asking after you see this, but we're going to compel you, for those of you that are still on the fence when it comes to what's the big deal about these license plate readers? Really, what does it matter if it's for officer safety?
Well, and in fact, I was having a back and forth with somebody who I truly respect, and we have that respectful conversation. And that was some of what they were asking in support of that program. If it truly, hey, if it's keeping our community safe, I'm for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're always going to have politicians. Bob's a politician. They're always going to be framing as government entities reasons to take your liberty away. Let's go ahead and watch this video. We're going to talk about it a little more, but I think you're going to want to watch very closely this next and final segment that we have.
Might have been prevented.
It'd be interesting to know what's going on now. I mean, as someone who's been in, around right wingers his whole life, I don't know a lot of potential bombers, not kind of that sort of right winger, but you wonder how many people, if the government has decided that everyone to the right of Chuck Schumer is a security risk, and they have, anyone who opposes our program is a security risk. Anyone who's not on board with totally destroying the country is our enemy, and that's their view for sure. Then you wonder how many people they are collecting information from, how many people they are sending money to, how many people are in effect federal informants at some level at some time in their lives.
I did some research on this for the last chapter of the book, and
I can think of a few, by the way. I've always wondered, people I know personally. Like, what is that person?
It's a staggering prospect. And the latest stats that I heard was that on any given day, the FBI has 15,000 informants out there working, spending like over $40 million a year on this. And think about what it is, their frontline jobs, bad enough, like betraying their families, friends, and work associates. But then to complete their projects, they're committing crimes, and their managers are looking the other way, and nobody seems to be keeping tabs on this, which has definitely increased exponentially since 9/11.
Has there been any reform at all in the past 6 months that you've noticed? Because I haven't noticed any reform at all.
No. And we both know that, again, it's this slow walk. The allegation from the January 6th detainees is that there was a heavy infiltration by the federal government. And this has been battered around Capitol Hill now.
So why can't we get an answer?
Chuck Grassley.
Okay. We're going to cue up the next video here. That was a lady by the name of Margaret Roberts, who was a recent guest on Tucker Carlson to address her book that she wrote about the Oklahoma City bombing that took place, hard to believe, 30 years ago this year. And that clip you hear, she's saying, look, you're basically, if you are center of right, or if you're right of center rather, or anything above liberal, government is watching you. And according to her research, there are over 15,000 informants right now working for the feds. That works out to, if you average it out across the country, 300 per state. And Tad and you militia boys, this runs right back to what I was telling you a few weeks ago. How many informants are there? They talked about those that were embedded during January 6th to set that up. How many of you right now are running around with a federal informant and you have no idea? None. Maybe Tad's one. I don't know. Maybe some of the other local militia guys are. Maybe Bob Norris is. Why does this matter, and how does this relate to Palantir? The government was originally formed to protect your rights as an American citizen to life, liberty, and property. And do you think that if you have informants that are embedding themselves everywhere to spy on you, do you think, and 6 months, 7 months, 8 months into the Trump administration, we're not hearing any major changes from the FBI or the intelligence agencies? Let's go ahead and play this next video. It's long. We're going to stop and start it, but this is important. You guys need to pay attention to this.
I guess hold on. I got one for. So I understand that I did get some ALPR audit information.
Okay.
At this point, I would be in favor of taking out the 24,000. Right now, I know that there's still 6 months left on the contract, which I understand we're going to be getting updated numbers, but I would feel more comfortable cutting that now and not leaving it in the budget.
May I be heard? So can I assume that your position would be to keep the technology but not store it? Is that would be your position?
Well,
or to cancel the contract?
So not renew the contract after December.
Okay.
about for the officer safety component to this?
Well, I don't have any information here to help me with the officer safety thing. I don't have
Well, then can we
anything
go
to go
back?
off
Can we
that.
start the budget proceedings again? Because we're going to need a lot more personnel to solve cases that we've solved from this. So let's start, let's go back and start from day one. Because this technology saves investigative time. This technology is an officer safety feature. This technology is widely used by other agencies here in Kootenai County.
Sheriff, didn't you send out some numbers?
I
or
did.
the undersheriff did?
And I,
Yeah,
we,
it's
in the
an-
short period of time, even not having everybody fully trained on this, but we had 419 inquiries into the system. And we've had 19 successful investigative solves or nexuses to another crime.
Is this stationary or only mobile? Because I think that the numbers have stationary in there as well, and we're not talking about stationary. We can't do anything about the stationary.
Okay. I'm talking about ALPR. in general.
Okay, I'm only talking about the mobile systems that we have in our car. Obviously, you're not getting rid of the hardware because that will stay. But it's just the storage of the data for 30 days, right, is what we're storing it for right now.
Correct. So I would, I'm asking the board to approve that. That is a officer safety feature, that is a investigative tool, and we have not had any breaches into that system. Every keystroke is monitored, and every keystroke is has an origin point. So it has not compromised anybody's privacy whatsoever.
Look, our deal was that we would give you a year, and you make the case of how it's
Absolutely.
positively affected the community from a crime reduction standpoint.
Absolutely.
And I think you should at least be given that year. I don't have a problem putting the money in, but we need to at least have that presentation and go through it and talk about it and make the case to people, because that's really what was said on multiple occasions
Agreed.
for that.
So, Mark, do you want to keep the $24,000 in for the mobile license plate readers?
No.
All right, so it sounds like we have two commissioners who want to cut the ALPR from the budget. Am I understanding that correctly?
Right now,
So
yes.
officer safety doesn't matter to you folks. All right. Let's go.
All right, so I'll make that budget cut. Okay, was there anything further on the budget that the board wanted to discuss?
Commissioner Duncan?
Not on B, no, thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna move to C budget then. I don't have any particular.
All right. And that video is we're gonna continue playing it here, but we're gonna go to our slides. Sheriff Norris was at the end out of his $50+ million ask this year, as commissioners want to cut software. The Huntington Beach officer that crashes helicopter is a volunteer pilot for the regional airport unit that's, and gets a commission off of that sale. In the Senate, discussing in green shirt up at the what do you call it, dais?
The dais.
Is Bruce Matari, chairman of the county commissioners, special deputy to Robert Norris. Throwing a fit, they all are, on these license plate readers. Let's go to our slide and continue the conversation. We're going to go to page 5. Last week we talked about Gotham. Gotham is the aggregated software used to, let me restate that. It is software used to aggregate all data and to kind of organize it. So it's like coming into a really messy room and grabbing everything and forming some piece of art out of it. We're going to explain this a little more. We had a local viewer that wrote into us and gave a pretty good summary and actually detail of why this technology is so dangerous. And we're going to go ahead and scroll to slide 6. They wrote to us and we were given permission to share this. This person says, because of my background, I'm aware of the deployment of systems into the AT&T data centers after 9/11, specifically the first large-scale implementation of a streaming database. A streaming database is able to analyze data in real time. Today's AI systems like ALPR, plate readers, based on streaming databases. I'm also aware of the NSA's large-scale data of American citizens that was shut down by Admiral Mike Rogers. Going to slide number 7. I can tell you from there are many things, or there are many companies out there with products that do the same thing as Palantir's Foundry. Foundry is the one that grabs all the information. It's not the one that eventually assembles something. It's the mass gathering from all different sources. Properly used, they are valuable in terms of understanding corporate data and can aid in decision making. They are also commonly used to root out fraud. Improperly used, they can enable extensive spying on American citizens as well as influence behavior. Influencing behavior is, in my opinion, the greatest threat to liberty. Without all of the data, influencing behavior becomes much more difficult. Very few people realize just how much social media influences them. Next slide. Based on the concept of pulling all the data into a very large database or databases. Blowback from getting caught was the events of pulling all of the data into one location. The trick that is now used by Foundry as well as other systems is to leave the data in a rich base and to get access to query those databases, essentially only reading the data required, but leaving the data in control of the owner. County Sheriff Norris says, hey, we talked to Motorola and we got our contract and they're not using any of our data.
Right.
We retain the data. We argued and said by Motorola's own policies, and we show this. They use the data. This seems to that we were correct. They leave in control of the owner. This is why Palantir and others will claim they aren't storing the data. It is technically true that they aren't storing the data, but the end result is exactly the same as if they did. Here's a diagram of the layout as I see it. So here you have quantum-powered AI and all these end users that are querying data and information. The data might be owned by whoever is running the ALPR, Motorola, for example, ESRI map data, DMV car registration data, Facebook data, all different sorts, right? And you can grab this information through AI, through different programs. And Foundry is just one of those. Next slide. A system like the one above would allow users or an artificial intelligence to pull together ALPR data, mapping data, car registration data, and Facebook data. From a liberty perspective, this would easily enable the ability to predict behavior as well as provide incentives to change behavior. Facebook, and virtually all other social media, is actively creating psychological profiles of its users. That profile information is for sale and has been for quite some time. Many of the other phone apps will feed information to Facebook, or at a minimum, check for a Facebook profile with your email address. Here is documentation from the AAMVA, which uses a similar set of software on just one of the functions their system provides. Okay, so what is the AAMVA? The American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. Now, Jen Noel and Teresa Roth have been talking about this for quite a while, and I think that from the sounds of it, our legislators in Idaho were duped this year. Not pushing back on the real ID. In fact, they've been using the need for the real ID because of all of the illegals to deport, and it's all for our good. But here is one of their publications, driver license data verification. In its summary, driver licenses, permits, identification cards collectively issued by U.S. jurisdictions are regularly used as proof of identity. However, a card may be counterfeit or altered. The purpose of the AAM license data verification is to provide commercial and government entities with the real-time capability to verify DL/ID information against data from the issuing agency. In summary, DLDV connects industry and motor vehicle agency in real time to create a uniform solution for identity verification. For a list of jurisdictions covered, please visit our website. So you're going to see exactly how this works. And the idea behind it is, hey, anywhere in the country, we can figure out who you are. And we can figure out whether you, as a cop out on the street, are running this name, if that actually is a registered, licensed, or state-issued entity. There's all sorts of things that they are claiming is going to help clean up for our good verification process. My question is, yes, we live in a digital age, but do you really want to adopt digital everything? Do you really want to live in a world where, as an American, you give up your dangerous liberty for this certain security? Or are you okay with saying sometimes bad people get away with things, but it far outweighs the conflict of the government deciding that it's going to secure you? Kind of like when Margaret Roberts was talking earlier to Tucker. They're watching you. The government has arbitrarily decided by these bureaucrats in the administrative state and those that don't even understand liberty or the Constitution. In fact, these people don't believe the Constitution is relevant today. They're going to decide if you're an enemy of the state or not. We're going to go on. This is so well written, and we really thank our viewer who sent this in. Looks familiar, doesn't it? I don't know what software AAMVA is using. Just to give you an idea of what sort of services are available for the DMV, here is a short list. Commercial driver license verification, digital driver license, digital image exchange, Help America Vote verification, National Motor Vehicle Title Information, Problem Driver Pointer System, Social Security verification, U.S. citizenship verification, and verification of lawful status. The bottom line, from my perspective, is that the groundwork for totalitarian control system is rapidly being built. But wait a second, Trump's in office. Mm-hmm. Biden's not there. We're not being surrounded, are we? Primarily because too many liberty-minded people have totally abandoned the field in favor of idolatry. They won't take their Christianity outside the doors of their church, but will fight to the death to protect their idols of politics, sports, pornography, and being entertained ad nauseum. That was extremely well written. And I do believe the problems that we're facing here, the fact that we don't have discernment, is because we have too many idols, as this viewer so well articulates. We have followed the false worship of politicians who are saving the day. But the very politician that everybody is putting their trust in, these politicians are working behind the scenes, knowingly or unknowingly, most likely, to help enslave us. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the beginning of the evil empire out of Star Wars. Let's go ahead and watch the rest of that video. We're going to give you guys some compelling reasons as to why you need to reject this. And we're going to watch a lady right now that's a constitutional attorney, Krisanne Hall. If you're on Twitter, you'll see me often reposting what she has to say. Thanks to Jen for sending this my way a couple days ago. She really nails it. Let's go ahead and watch what she has to say about the surveillance state and liberty.
Hi, everybody. Krisanne Hall here, your constitutional attorney. Recently, I did a video on how TSA PreCheck tricks you into surrendering your rights to the U.S. government. That video unexpectedly went viral, millions and millions and millions of views. Unfortunately, all too common, I'm hearing the response, I have nothing to hide. This is a very disturbing response to me, and I wanted to do this separate video. When you say, I have nothing to hide, that's not a badge of honor. That's actually a surrender flag. The Bill of Rights was not written to protect criminals. It was written to protect you, the innocent, the law-abiding, the quiet, honest citizen just trying to live in peace. The First Amendment, not for popular speech. It's for speech that rattles cages. The Fourth Amendment, not for people who have something to hide. It's for people who have everything to protect. Liberty, conscience, property, due process. Our founders knew the importance of securing these things not just for themselves, but for their future. James Otis Jr., one of our most important founders, the man who lit the fuse for our battle for liberty against Great Britain, said, "It's not the breaking of his doors and rummaging of his drawers that is so much the grievance as being subject to it." In other words, it's not about hiding. It's not about having something to hide. It's about not living under the boot of unchecked power. And then there's Samuel Adams, who warned us loud and clear. If we suffer tamely a lawless attack upon our liberty, we encourage it, and we involve others in our doom. Millions yet unborn may be the miserable sharers of that event. If you think this is just about you, it's not. It's about your children, your grandchildren. They will inherit whatever level of abusive government we tolerate. Benjamin Franklin said it plainly when he said, "They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety, or maybe not having to take off your shoes, deserve neither liberty nor safety." And then William Pitt the Younger dropped the mic and said, "Necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants, and it is the creed of slaves." Every time the government says, we need to do this for your safety, it's a test. Will you comply? Will you stay silent? Or will you say, not on my watch? Because when you say, I have nothing to hide, what you're really saying is, I'm okay with being searched without cause. I'm okay being silent if I'm unpopular. I'm okay if due process only applies when the government feels like it. That's not liberty. That's servitude in costume. The Constitution doesn't protect your rights because you're guilty. It protects your rights because government power doesn't stop at the guilty. If you don't stand up while you're innocent, you won't be standing when you're accused, or worse, when your children are. So please, stop saying I have nothing to hide and start saying I have everything to protect. Not just for me, but for every soul who's coming after me. Liberty is not safe in the hands of the apathetic, and it belongs only to the courageous. If you really want to learn more about your rights, if you really want your children to know what rights they need to protect, because if you cannot protect what you cannot define. If you really want to know, we have courses at libertyfirstsociety.com to help you understand where your rights begin and where government power ends. Thank you so much for joining me today. God bless.
I don't know about you, but that got me really fired up. Our form of government is not to protect the guilty. the users. These limits were set in place with a mandate that government is to protect your rights. Your rights to speech that others find extremely offensive, especially so. Your right to be secure in your persons and places and effects. James Madison even went so far as to say that your intellectual ideas, your thoughts are your own personal property as well. Stop saying you have nothing to hide. Remember that, as was said earlier by one of the founders, necessity always drives. These so-called crises are what they use to sell why your liberty should be taken away. Now, this last week, Donna and I flew down to San Diego. If any of you have flown anywhere domestically in the past year, you know that when you go to TSA, that as you are handing them your identification and your boarding pass to go through screening, they want you to look in the camera and say cheese, getting all of your facial recognition data. And I refused both times. No big deal. Do not comply. Do not be coerced. I mean, it was tough, wasn't it for you at first?
It was. I have to say, it actually took, because I would watch the people in line in front of me and everybody is just stepping in front of the camera. Oh, it's a part of the process. And they're almost excited to do it. Their body language is almost like, yeah, I have nothing to hide. So I am in front of the camera. But for me, it actually took you being in front of me and you doing that first for me to follow when it was my turn to show my ID and go through that process at security to say, I'm gonna decline the photo. I needed that extra push.
Let's go back to trusting our local representatives. If you trust them, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you if you are not trusting, but verifying first. Wherever you are, we happen to live in Kootenai County. I don't trust Bob Norris as sheriff. I've seen too much of the way he operates. I wouldn't trust him with anything precious, let alone my liberty. Bruce Matari, his special deputy and the county commissioner, nope. Not even Mark Eberline, who I like, and Leslie Duncan, who I like, or our representatives. Because when you turn over blind allegiance and don't hold your representative accountable, remember, we don't have kings in this country, we don't have nobility, and we aren't looked by the clergy. They don't tell us what to do. We are all equal. You cannot trust anybody. If I had been the sheriff of Kootenai County, I would tell you, do not trust me without verifying. Constantly keep your peers, those that represent you, accountable. I think Ed DePriest would say the same thing. So here's what my challenge is to you right now. Those of you that are running around with your kids to various sporting events, you're on vacation, you're out with friends, you're enjoying the warm evening sun and warm air, good climate, vacationing, whatever. Those are good things. I mean, those are all good things. But if you are so focused on those things that you're not paying attention right now in your local community as to what is enslaving you, what is taking your liberty away, as Benjamin Franklin says, you don't deserve liberty, and you deserve everything that's coming down the pike towards us at rapid speed. Now, I came in here over a year ago, went before the Board of County Commissioners and said, this LPR is bad for our county. It's bad for our liberty. And we do not, as Kootenai County citizens, agree to trading our dangerous liberty for a certain security. but we were told it's fear mongering and that the data isn't sold. And they're watching every keystroke. It's officer safety. So we saw a video earlier of Bob Norris being defunded in real time by the county commissioner, Everline and Duncan. Take away that $24,000 contract to continue use of the LPRs. And Norris storms out, I guess you don't care about officer safety. Bullshit. You could use officer safety to justify every infringement on the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth, the Fifth, and so on, for officer safety. You listen to Krisanne Hall. You don't have to justify and say you have nothing to hide. The government has everything to gain by enslaving you. You have everything to lose by turning over the smallest skosh of your liberty to these individuals that claim that they're looking out for your good. They're not. Let's watch this last video because we have a huge ask, especially for my friends here in Kootenai County. And if you are in a region that is using LPR, Spokane County, just to the west of us, is on a live crime center. Right before the first of the year, I did a query. There's over 4 million license plates that are scanned every month in this region. Let's go ahead and watch this last video before we wrap it up.
Before we go there, commissioners, Mr. Chairman, in November of last year, the voters of this county overwhelmingly elected me to be their sheriff by about a 50%, 48% margin. And there was another candidate, I don't remember his name, but he ran on the subject of ALPRs, automated license plate readers. And that candidate came in 48% behind me. This county has entrusted me that I would safeguard this information, that this information would only be used for crime fighting and officer safety. We've had some implementation issues. We've had some factory resets that we had to do. We had some connectivity issues with the program, and we even started the program late because I did a town hall meeting and invited members of the community to come so they could hear the real facts about the AL.
Where you lied. You lied, Bob.
Misinformation that was out in the community by certain individuals or groups. So I'd like this system, it absolutely, since we've been able to play with it, it monitors every keystroke that gets put into that system. Every single one. So our auditing, our verification that this system is not being abused is 100% present. And I'd like a reconsideration on that. I did talk to Commissioner Eberline. He is very supportive of officer safety. And I have assured him that, and all the voters of this county, that this will only be used for crime fighting and officer safety purposes only.
And on top of that, he's promised to make sure that we get all the information that we possibly need, and if it's a failure, it fails.
If it's a failure, it fails.
I promise we're only going to use it for solving crimes for official law enforcement purposes. Notice that he doesn't even address the elephant in the room. He says every keystroke is logged. What he's saying is, every time a deputy engages that system, there's an audit of who that deputy was, time, location, all that. Okay, that is important, but more important, the argument is privacy of your data to scale. They've got those on 50, give or take, patrol vehicles in Kootenai County that are running and scanning thousands of plates per shift. Remember, Motorola's their own policies state that their technology is capable. All they have to do is just add a different mod.
Right.
And it can use predictability, predictive AI. Where is Dan Wilson most likely going to be if we need to go look for him? And as we read to you from our viewer, that data is technically stored on the local server. So Kootenai County can say, hey, we retain our data, but we know that they're getting in there and grabbing it most likely. Overwhelming 48% did not vote for him. He likes to say 57% voted for him. 48% did not vote for him. And folks, here's my ask. Kootenai County, right now, the budgets are being set for fiscal year 2020. The budget that Bob Norris first inherited when he came into office in 21 was about 30 million. And now it has ballooned up to over 50 million. It's quite an increase in a couple of years. Here's my question for you guys. Are you concerned enough about your liberty, even in a super red Republican county, to say, nah, do not trade. We do not trade our dangerous liberty for your certain security, because if we did, we deserve neither. I need you to contact County Commissioner Mark Eberline and County Commissioner Leslie Duncan. Call them up, leave them messages. You'll see right here, we'll play this for a second. You can look them up at Kootenai County itself. Mark Eberline, I don't know, Don, if you can read that better than me. It's kind of too small.
The phone numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Duncan is 208-446-1600. Again, that's the phone number for County Commissioner Leslie Duncan, 208-446-1600. I'm going to see if I can dial back. And then Mark Eberline, County Commissioner, his phone number is 208-446-1600.
Mark's a reasonable guy. He originally was against it. But Bob Norris, with his snake charm that he puts on people, a snake charmer, spells. You saw Mark look giddy because Bob says he's had a conversation with him. Now, I don't think it amounted to a violation of the open meeting law when you have two agencies talking together. I mean, Mark's got to be careful because he's off the record informally talking to Norris about a vote that he has to make on Bob's budget. I think that's a little bit suspect right there. I don't think it amounts to criminality, but look, Bob Norris works the crowd just like he did the chamber.
He does. He has that charm on people. He does. Even those who have claimed to be wary. And it's like once they get into his clutches or within eyeshot, there is something that guy has over people.
If there's anybody that has a quick question that they did not get answered, shoot us again here in the last few minutes here. We're going to, in the meantime, read our final quote. This was directly from Krisanne Hall's video. She quotes founder James Otis Jr. He says, "It is not the breaking of his doors and the rummaging of his drawers that is so much the grievance as being subject to it." Do you agree with me? Folks, you have to be strong. You have to be courageous in this time. We have many things that we're facing. Those of you that think that just because Biden is out of office and the Republicans own the Congress, that we're all safe, but I would argue and say it has never been more dangerous for your liberty. What are you going to do in your community? What are you going to do to motivate those around you to stand up for liberty without compromise? I, Jen, others that are staying up daily, Tim Torres, a good buddy, Jim Harbin, be praying. It's pretty dire straits for Jim. He needs a miracle. Todd's finally out of treatment for his shoulder. Of course, we always remember my friend Ron. All of your friends that are suffering, remember to pray for them. But make certain that when you pray, if you do it publicly, you don't then go back online and call people queers and douchebags. And
You're gonna, if the name of Jesus is in your Facebook bio profile, watch what secret groups you're creating and the comments that you think you're making in those groups that you think are secret. And it's your alter ego. Hey, when nobody's watching, because forget that God's always watching. I'm proclaiming Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think nobody's watching, who's going to judge me?
I don't get caught up on
It's going to come out
on legalism, right? That's not what it's about. It's the intent of the heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't do like the Pharisees where they pray really loud and then do dirty deeds on the side.
But out loud praying can just get a little crazy sometimes. If you've been inspired by tonight's broadcast and to join in that movement of liberty without compromise, you can head to our website, libertywithoutcompromise.com, and we have apparel available there so that you can wear the t-shirt, wear the hoodie, wear the hat, and wear that badge of courage, liberty without compromise, and do it. Take a stand. Take it beyond that. Get active. Call your commissioners and get in contact with those who are involved and join the cause. Get a hold of Jen Noel. She cannot do it by herself. People will tell her, Jen, fighting the surveillance state. You're doing a great job, but she can't do it all on her own.
No, she cannot. Jen, you are a warrior. We sure appreciate you and love you.
Thank you for joining us tonight on the Liberty Without Compromise live stream broadcast. You can visit our website to watch past episodes and view exclusive reports just like the one you saw tonight on Bureau of Bootlickers. Other exclusive reports on Kootenai County political power players, that's at libertywithoutcompromise.com. And for our podcast, you can listen and subscribe wherever you get your shows. A reminder about our affiliate, Midday Squares. Get those delicious chocolate squares that are going to help you on that like summer trim down. You replace the bad snacks and the ice cream you're eating at night with those Midday Squares. You get 15% off that entire order and help support this program by clicking the link there in the comment section. Also, a reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel because all of the archived episodes are there. And then like and follow the brand new Liberty Without Compromise Facebook page. You can start engaging with some of these detractors who are carrying the water for Bob Norris, Brent Regan, the KCRCC. They've all got a kingdom they're trying to protect. It's time for you to talk back.
Brent Nafaratu.
I can't wait till that one.
KCRCC.
You got to release that image.
God bless you all. We'll see you same place next week.